Hey Gemini, welcome to your yearly 2021 Sidereal Astrology forecast. All right, so a lot to talk about here for the year. We're going to take a look at the most important areas for you, what's shifting, and which months are going to be most, I think, important for the development of these areas. So again, we are using true Sidereal Astrology. The signs are different from mainstream astrology. So if you are new, definitely check out the links down below. You want to make sure you're watching this for your true sidereal, either sun sign or moon sign or ascendant sign. And down below, there will be a list for the sun sign dates for true sidereal, and you can watch that corresponding video. And of course, the birth chart calculator, where you can also find your true sidereal moon and true sidereal ascendant. And I do recommend watching all three videos because it gives you more of a holistic, more personalized kind of reading for these more general collective readings for everyone here, for all Geminis in this case. All right, so let's go take a look at the beginning of the year coming into 2021. We have both Jupiter and Saturn going into your deeper sector. It's going to be a very constructive year, I think, for things regarding healing, doing inner work, trauma work, all this about doing some of that internal psychological work that really helps you connect to your deeper values and the more meaningful things in life. This is also going to be a step in the right direction, I think, in regards to your relationships. I think there's been a lot of developments here in this area, particularly last year in 2020. And so now maybe getting into the deeper side of relationships, matters of intimacy, matters of building trust. Some of you maybe shared resource kind of situations that you could be involved with. And on the financial front, this is a great time, first of all, seeing how far you've come perhaps financially, maybe over the past 15 years, 14 years, but now starting to see how you can maybe establish some new things financially, particularly in the context of shared resources. If there's any kinds of loans, debts, or either governments or something where someone else has a hand in your finances in some way, it's really good to start to establish some new foundations there so you can have some healthy interdependency, some good financial abundance, all in the context of maybe paying off some debts or working some things out so that you can have more financial independence in your life. All right, so January 10th, Mars is going to leave Pisces, so collectively we're all going to have a little bit of more clarity just in general, because Mars is in Pisces the second half of 2020, and he's going to go into your 11th house, which deals with your future aspirations. January 10th onwards, probably quite motivated and driven towards your future aspirations, which is going to be a big theme of the year we'll talk about. And then also sometimes collective matters, so friends, groups, community, maybe putting some action and energy there. Now, January 13th, we do have a new moon in that relationship sector. So although there's been a lot established and new foundations probably built there over the past couple years, I do see a nice step in the right direction here in regards to particularly maybe the deeper side of relationships and maybe, something continuing to develop there on the relating front. But most importantly, it's really about empowerment, maybe releasing some past patterns about relationships, again, psychologically or with healing, and maybe some new developments there in your relationship so they are more deeper, intimate, but based on trust and depth and truth and all these kinds of things Pluto's been helping you really establish with relationships these past many years. So this year, the real theme is that we're going to have Jupiter squaring up to Uranus and Saturn squaring up to Uranus. And this is involving two very different areas, which generally means it's more challenging to integrate these different areas, but it can be a super constructive year to do this. One of the areas is, of course, on depth and truth, deeper healing, deeper work, again, maybe financially on that level. But with Uranus in your 11th, I think these past couple years, there's probably been a lot changing, maybe with your future aspirations. Maybe some of you have gotten some unique future aspirations that you wanted to experiment with or try to develop your future goals, and also maybe even collectively. For those of you maybe experimenting with things online or with different communities, this is also really good to develop in the year. But as you can tell by these interpretations, these are two very different things: depth, deeper life, healing, and future aspirations and collective matters. So the challenge for you this year is how to integrate these two. How to incorporate some of that depth and truth maybe into your friends, circles, community, networks, some of those future aspirations, but also the reverse as well. How to see that kind of all this healing stuff really does contribute to your future ideals, right? And to the future as a whole. So how can you do this? How can you incorporate depth with collective matters, depth into your future aspirations, and see that there is a way to unite both areas of life, because they're both getting active, but they are very different and generally collectively difficult to integrate, but very constructive when we do incorporate both areas in our life. So January 17th, the Jupiter square to Uranus is going to help you do that. But all year we have Saturn square Uranus from February 17th all the way till December 24th to help us establish those foundations. Now, the main developments that I think are going to come through in terms of the deeper area for you will be January 21st through February 14th, when the sun's here in your 8th house. So that's going to be, I think, a great time of establishing new things with the healing and the inner work. Again, anything that's about helping you shine that light of consciousness on all the deeper sides of yourself, which helps you become more whole, more healed, more transformed, more rejuvenated. Now, do be flexible around this time, though, because January 29th through February 21st, Mercury will be retrograde in the sector. So it could be going back and maybe redoing some things involving healing. If it's, again, financial, maybe going back and redoing some things there financially. So it is a shifting time. It's a kind of, things kind of up in the air, especially with Mercury being your ruler. So having a plan A, B, C, and D, being as flexible as possible, just in general for you, being your ruler, but maybe in the context of all this deeper energy and healthy interdependent energy that this year is really helping you develop. Now, late February into early March, Neptune is shifting signs going into Pisces, which is your 10th house, which means Neptune is leaving your 9th. So a lot of you have maybe been experiencing what has been kind of like a serendipitous sort of spiritual guidance, let's say, to help you expand your horizons. Now, this has been over the past 10 years. It could be for some of you your literal horizons through travel and adventure, but for most of you probably in regards to your beliefs on life. Some of you probably got into some spiritual philosophies, maybe have been guided to discover new perspectives on life, new philosophies, new beliefs. And so this all starts to finalize. And in a sense, I think from this March onwards time period, you'll probably see how everything has serendipitously kind of led you to where you're meant to be in regards to your life path, in regards to your philosophy on life, your beliefs of life, and for some of you involving travel and adventure. So any uncertainty around that area starts to clear up, the fog lifts, and Neptune will then be going into your career sector. So where the dreams and ideals might start to shift into is in regards to career and productive life, to do what's important to you on a soul level there with your career. I think that's always important for you anyways with Pisces in your 10th house, but doing more spiritually meaningful things for your work and such. So follow that intuition, follow that inner guidance to help you be led spiritually, be led intuitively towards a career, productive life that's going to be more soul satisfying for you and spiritually satisfying. You got plenty of time to do this. It's a very long transit with Neptune, but really good time of establishing that. All right, April 18th, though, Jupiter will be going into that travel, maybe expansion sector, and that's going to be particularly strong from April 18th until August 29th. And so during this time period, I think that where the fog lifts in regards to mental and literal expansion, Jupiter comes in. So some of you might be traveling, some of you might be getting some adventure there. Some of you might be going to university or gaining some higher knowledge or wisdom. Some of you might be publishing or broadcasting. Some of you may be just simply gaining more higher perspectives on life, philosophies. So really good expansion there with your mind, with your perspective for the bulk of the year from April 18th to August 29th. Maybe not the bulk, but a good chunk of the year there. April 21st to May 11th, this will be a really good time of activating that more collective side with Uranus. So good to maybe try some new things with friends, with community, maybe with some online things, and maybe a nice step in the right direction involving some of these future visions that you've been, again, experimenting with. So again, that's such an important area of development to find the balance between the deeper life as well. But great time there, this whole late April into May for developing both your future visions and also collective or community matters. Now, May 26th and June 10th, we have the eclipses, and this is going to really help us all find some balance. And the balance for the whole year for you, I think, is between finding the balance between work and rest, between your day-to-day life and your spiritual life, between physical health and spiritual/mental health, right? We have the north and south nodes, and they're transiting through this sector that deals with health, physical and spiritual. I think it's good to have your work, your routine. There's almost a karmic energy kind of unfolding here, kind of past life seeming energy around work and routine. But what helps balance that out is, of course, more rest, more peace, meditation, spiritual time out. So that's great. But also the reverse is true. In order to, be in good spiritual health, we do have to have good routines, good habits, good health, diet, things like this. So all in all, a really good year for development, personal development, in regards to health, both physical and spiritual, in regards to finding balance between work and rest, right? This kind of thing, fantastic. And the June 10th and May 30th eclipses will help you do that. Now, June 14th, we have the second contact with Saturn square Uranus. So things start to make a little bit more sense around this time, about mid-year, in regards to what you can implement regarding these two very different areas of the deeper life and the collective life, right? The deeper life and the future visions. And so, like I said, it's a great year for doing both, and maybe something makes sense in terms of how you can incorporate those two from June 14th onwards. And like we said, August 29th, Jupiter will then leave the kind of expansion sector, expanding your mental and literal horizons, and come back into the 8th. So from August 29th until December 7th, I think there's, some kind of the lighter side, the more optimistic side, maybe something you saw from earlier in the year regarding healing and depth. Jupiter has a way of helping us see the more top-down perspective of things, and for you involving healing, it's probably learning a lot about your deeper values, deeper truth in those relationships, again, intimacy, trust, deep diving, things like that. You definitely have that expansion there with Jupiter, August 29th to December 7th. And then November 19th and December 4th, we have the next set of eclipses, again, helping you find the balance between work and rest, physical health, spiritual health, and and then December 7th, Jupiter will go back into the travel, expanding of your horizons, which takes you into 2022 for philosophy, for higher learning, higher knowledge, sharing your wisdom with the world, or just getting into some adventurousness. And then lastly, December 24th is the final contact between Saturn square Uranus, which is that integration between depth and collective matters. And so anything that has been worked on throughout the year that has integrated these two, your deeper values and your future values, depth and community/friends, I do see this as culminating and finalizing here at the end of the year. Although I still think it's good to work on your deeper life through 2022 because you'll still have Saturn there. I think the final square with Uranus will be some sort of integration of that with that freedom of the future and your ideals and collective matters that can be quite exciting and different this year, that you might be incorporating some of that deeper energy into. All right, so Gemini, have a fantastic 2021. Thank you so much for watching. Now, this video does come with a 20% discount on personal readings. Of course, these are very collective general readings, so for a more detailed look and personalized reading, do check those out. There's a link down below for 20% off those readings. But again, have a fantastic 2021. Thank you so much for your support, and I'll see you all next time for the next astrology forecast. Take care.